She had everything: wealth, status, luxury, the kind of life most people dream of. But one day she made a decision that shocked high society. She walked away. Not just from riches, but from an entire world of comfort and privilege. Why? What could compel one of the richest women in America to leave it all behind? What did she see, what did she hear, that made her trade silk gowns for a humble habit, a grand estate for dusty roads and mission schools? This is the story of St. Katharine Drexel, an heiress who saw something most never do, a greater purpose. And once she saw it, there was no turning back. But before we answer why she left, we must first understand the world she was born into. Katharine was born in 1858 into one of the wealthiest families in America. The Drexels were a pillar of Philadelphia high society, possessing immense financial resources and social influence. She could have spent her days attending grand galas, wrapped in silks and surrounded by privilege. But even as a child, Katharine understood that true riches lay not in gold but in love, love for God and love for those who had nothing. Her family home, though filled with elegance, was also filled with mercy. The Drexels did not merely acknowledge the suffering of the poor, they acted. 3 times a week, their doors were opened to feed the hungry. This was no act of casual charity, it was a lesson. Katharine watched her parents live out their faith, understanding that wealth was not meant for personal indulgence, but as a gift to be used for the greater good. As she matured, her heart was drawn toward those whom society ignored. She spent her summers teaching catechism to poor children, seeing firsthand the struggles of those who lived without hope. But it was her travels through the American West that changed everything. She encountered Native American communities devastated by poverty, stripped of dignity, and left with little means to survive. Their plight pierced her soul. Could she, a wealthy woman, simply donate money and be done? No, that would not be enough. Katharine felt a call, not to simply give, but to serve. Then came the moment that would define her life. In Rome, she sought an audience with Pope Leo XIII, pleading for missionaries to be sent to assist Native Americans. The Pope's response was unexpected and life-altering. He looked at her and said, "Why not you?" Why not her? The thought was both terrifying and exhilarating. She had spent her life wishing that someone would step forward to help the forgotten. The Pope had shown her that she was that someone. Returning home, Katharine made a decision that shocked the world. She renounced her fortune, an unimaginable act for an heiress of her stature, and dedicated her life to serving the most marginalized communities in America. She founded the Sisters of the Blessed Sacrament, an order devoted to the spiritual and educational uplift of African American and Native American populations. For the next 40 years, she worked tirelessly. Under her leadership, nearly 60 schools and missions were established, giving education, dignity, and hope to those long denied these basic rights. One of her most enduring legacies is Xavier University in New Orleans, the first historically Black Catholic university in the United States. Her work was not without opposition. Racism and prejudice followed her mission, and there were those who sought to obstruct her at every turn. Yet she pressed on, her faith unshaken, her resolve unbreakable. Even when illness struck in her later years, confining her to a life of prayer, she never ceased. On March 3, 1955, Katharine Drexel left this world to reside in her eternal home. The seeds she planted, the institutions she built, the lives she touched, all continue to flourish. Canonized by Pope John Paul II in 2000, St. Katharine Drexel remains a powerful example of what it means to truly live one's faith. She did not simply give, she gave herself. Wealth fades, status crumbles, but a heart that gives, that endures forever. St. Katharine Drexel's life was not merely one of charity, it was one of transformation. She saw suffering and did not turn away. She saw injustice and did not remain silent. Instead, she gave not just her fortune, but her very life to those the world had cast aside. She did not merely donate, she labored. She did not simply help, she became. In the classrooms, on the roads, in the quiet hours of prayer, she lived the gospel, not as an idea, but as a mission. And now, her holy life whispers to us, what are you holding on to? What are you afraid to lose? Because in the end, true wealth is not in what we keep, but in what we give away. May her story stir something deep within us. May her courage remind us that the call to love is always waiting. And may we too have the strength to answer it. St. Katharine Drexel, a heart filled with humility, pray for us.